Hi, I'm Jason from Getaway RV, and I'm just going to give you a run through on your Bigfoot trailer. So we'll start with the propane. Tanks are in here. You can do one of two things. You can simply open one tank up at a time. Once this tank is empty, propane will run out inside. You could shut it off and open the other one. Or what you could do is you can open both tanks. On the top of the regulator, there's a directional arrow. You can point it to either tank. So if I've got it pointing this way, it'll run on this tank first. Once this is empty, it will automatically switch over to the other tank. Now in this window here, it's green. If you come out and you see that this window has turned red, you know that it's switched over to the opposing tank. All right, I'm gonna leave them on for now. They should be shut off for travel. Over here, we have your hot water heater. Hot water heater is lit from inside the trailer, so there's really nothing to do out here apart from service access and draining for wintertime. Have your outside shower here, hot and cold. And over here, we have a little slippy there where you fill your fresh water tank. So if you're going to a campsite where there's no hookups, you can fill your tank up before you go. And beside it, we have your city water hookup. So with your city water hookup, you should use a non-toxic water hose and use a water pressure regulator. The water pressure regulator, put it on the tap on the campground. That way it keeps the pressure off everything, the hose and the unit. And underneath the trailer, it's a little hard to see because it's black on black, but this is going to be your drain for your freshwater tank right here. So when you get home, you're done camping, it's probably a good idea to just open it up, drain it out, let the water drain out, just so you don't get stale, stagnant water sitting in the tank. What we have here is cable hookup. If you go to a campsite where they have cable or they offer cable services, you can plug in there and watch TV. This is just your electrical cord hookup. So this is our cord right here, adapter, and one of yours will be in one of the storage compartments. You have a porch light here, you have service access to your fridge, and you have ventilation and service access to your furnace. Right here we have your sewer flush. So with your sewer flush, you should use a different hose than you would use on your city water, just for sanitation reasons. When you are using the sewer flush, you do need to make sure your black valve is kept open all the time. If you fail to do that, there is a chance that you could flood your black tank and flood the inside with sewer. So always keep the black valve open when you're flushing your sewer. Now your sewer hookups are underneath. We've got a sewer hose in one of the compartments there. So basically underneath you have two valves. You take the cap off, hook the hose on, put the other end into the sani station. Black valve is your toilet water waste. Gray valve is going to be your shower, kitchen water waste. If you go to a campsite where they have full hookups and you want to hook up to their sewer, you can leave your gray open all the time, so as you're using the shower or kitchen waste, it flows straight out. But you always want to leave the black closed until the tank is at least 2/3 full. That way it gives it lots of pressure and gives it a good flush out. If you leave the black valve open all the time, it'll eventually block the tank. Now if you're just pulling by a sani station and you want to dump your tanks, you simply empty your black first, let it all flush out, and then pull the gray. That lets everything rinse out behind it. As far as tires, tire pressure on this is showing a maximum of 80 psi. I'd probably run these tires at about 65 psi and just see how they feel. That's usually a good pressure on the Bigfoots. Wheel nuts should be checked before each trip. The trailer does not come with a jack or a wheel wrench, so make sure that you do have something that would fit. I would actually recommend you go to a hardware store and buy yourself a torque wrench, because the wheel nut should be torqued before each trip and periodically throughout your journey. We usually torque them to between 100 to 110 foot-pounds. Alright, so in here, just storage compartment, there's your sewer hose, park adapter as well. Spare tire is over here. And over here we just have a 110 outlet. So if you have the trailer plugged in at a campground, you can utilize this outlet if you wanted to plug something in. Storage compartment. In here is your main electrical cords and also the crank for your stabilizer jack. So we'll just come over here and I won't wind it all the way down, but I'll just show you. It just fits on there and then you crank them down. So the stabilizer jacks are not for leveling the trailer. To level the trailer front to back, you would do that from the tongue jack. And then leveling the trailer side to side, you would do that from the wheels. So you would back onto some blocks. With these, you want to crank them down till they hit the ground. And just once you feel tension on them, you can give them 1 or 2 more turns and that is it. You don't want to try and level the trailer with the jacks. If you do, you'll just end up putting too much pressure on the jacks and it kind of twists everything. All right, we're gonna pull the awning out. So what we are gonna do here is we're gonna release the handle at the back there. We're gonna loosen this knob, and you have a directional lever up in the top. I'm gonna flip that down, and then I'm gonna go to the back arm. I'm going to release here, and what this is doing, it's holding the inner and the outer arm together. I'm going to loosen this black knob, and then we're going to go over to the little ribbon. Usually I like the ribbon in the center just so it pulls the awning out a little more evenly. All the way down. And then on each side, we have an inner arm. So we're going to slide the inner arm up to the top. There's a little lever here. We're going to slide it so it goes over top of that lever. You can hear it click there. We're going to put a little bit of weight on it just to tighten keep the tension on the fabric. And we're going to tighten the knob. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Slide that up to the top. Hear my click there. A little bit of tension. Tighten the knob. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the handle and I'm just going to raise it a little bit at a time. A little bit on this side, a little bit on the other side till we get it to the height we want it at. If there's two people doing it, you can raise it all at once. A little bit there. It's a good idea to leave one side a little bit lower, just so the rain can run off. But if you are in anything more than a light rain, or it's anything more than a really light breeze, you really want to put the awning away. You don't want to take a chance of the awning getting damaged.
Jason, I can ask you a question. What do you think about lifting from this handle itself? Can that break the handle?
You do have to be careful with lifting the handle, but I usually do grab a hold of the handle and the arm at the same time.
Right.
All right, so going down is the opposite. We're going to do a little bit on each side so we get it down to the bottom again. And there is a stopper here, so that is going to be your stop point. But again, I don't want to get too much tension on it by twisting everything, so we're just going to do a little bit at a time. So now I'm going to loosen this knob, and if you just take a look over here, this has to slide over top. So underneath there's the latch. I'm going to pull that down, and that allows the arms to slide over top. And then I'm just going to simply do the same at the back. Loosening the knob, pulling the little latch here, sliding down to the bottom. Okay. So this is where you got to be a little careful. The awning is spring-loaded, so as soon as I trip the directional lever here, it's going to want to go up. So you want to have tight hold. If you're concerned about doing this yourself, have someone else hold it with you. But I got a tight hold here. I'm going to flip the lever to the travel position, and then I'm going to slide myself back to the center. I like it to go up nice and even, and you're going to get it going up a lot more even from the center. Okay, once you get it to the part where you can't reach anymore, you can use your rod. Okay, so we are back in travel position. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to squeeze the inner and the outer arm together. I'm going to close the latch, and then I'm going to tighten the knob at the back, and I'm going to do the same at the back as well. Squeeze it together, close that up, and tighten the knob at the back. All right. Tuck this back into the storage compartment, and then we'll go inside. Okay, so what I see first off as I walk in the door is a battery disconnect switch. So if I hit that to store, that will kill the 12-volt power. Now you notice the light didn't go out. The reason the light didn't go out is we're actually plugged into 110-volt power. So if we weren't plugged into power, that light would have just shut off. When you are storing the trailer in your driveway or storage lot or whatever the case may be, you should always put it into the storage position. When you are plugged into power, or when you're towing the vehicle, you should always put it in the use position, because if it's not in the use position, the battery will not charge. All right. I see you have a solar panel in here. That is on this particular unit. I believe it is pre-wired, so if you do have any questions on that, you can certainly give us a call. Come on in here. What we have here is your monitor panel. You can check the levels of your battery, fresh water tank. So if I hit battery, I'm at 13.2 volts. Fresh water tank is 0% full. Gray water, 0% full. And black water, 0% full. Water pump switch is if I'm using water from the fresh water tank. I can simply turn the pump on, run the water, shut it off. Now when there's actual water in the system, it will pressurize, and when you turn the tap off, the pump will shut off as well. That's fine if you're doing dishes or having a shower or whatever. I do like to make a habit of shutting the pump off when it's not in use though. So if I'm done the dishes and I'm outside or going for a hike or going to sleep, I want to have that switch off. It's just a good habit. So other thing I'll mention too, stove is over here. It is a good idea when you get to your campsite, before you turn on your fridge, your furnace, your water heater, light one of the stove burners, let it run for 2 or 3 minutes. What it does is it just gets the propane flowing through the system, and it makes everything else that much easier to light. All right, simple as that. It's a good idea also to have the fan running when you have the stove burners on, just to help to ventilate and get rid of some of the heat. All right. With the oven, you would have to turn it to pilot, push the button into hold, and that's where you need a barbecue lighter, where you're going to hold it in the back over the thermocouple. Just I'll just point to it there. Hold that there with it on pilot, pushing it in until the pilot lights. Then you can let it go and leave it on pilot. Set it to whatever temperature you want it at. After that, the burner will kick in. When you're done with it, you can turn it back to pilot. I do prefer just to shut it off.
So should we ever use that for heating the coach?
Never. You should never use your stove burners for heating the coach. Okay, I'm going to back up over here. There's one more switch I wanted to explain. This switch is for your hot water heater. You'll see there's a lightning bolt and a flame. So if you're plugged into shore power, you can turn it on, and that will run it off of 110 volts. If you don't have shore power and you want to run it on propane, you can turn that switch on. Okay, I heard it light. Probably can't hear that on the video there, but you can always go outside to the water heater and check. If this red light illuminates, it means the water heater did not succeed in lighting, in which case you'd have to turn it off and repeat the process. Furnace, you simply turn the thermostat on, set your temperature to whatever you want it at, and it'll take a few minutes and you'll start getting heat. And furnace is located under here, but you have vents that are situated in different areas of the coach. So one there, and there's one in some other areas as well, one by the door. Okay. I'm going to shut the furnace down. So to do that, I'm simply going to turn the thermostat off, turn the temperature down. Down here, we have your 110 volt breakers and your fuses. So this is like basically your power converter, power distribution center. If you're plugged into power and, for example, you had an outlet that wasn't working, you could check the breakers. If you have something on the 12 volt side that's not working, such as your water pump or light, furnace fan, you could check the fuses. Now they are somewhat marked on here. Okay, over there, 110 volt outlet. So if you are plugged into power, you could utilize the outlets. Same over here, we've got a 110 volt outlet. We've got your connection for your TV. Now this is a booster. That booster should be off when not in use because it does draw down on the battery. Okay, fridge. So your controls for your fridge are right here. You have an on-off switch. It's a two-way fridge. It runs on propane and 110 volts. So you simply turn it on. It's gone to auto, so it'll automatically run on 110 volt first. If there's no 110 volt, it'll run on propane. Now, if I want it to run on propane, even though I'm plugged in, turn it on, same way we've just have done, and then push this button, so the button's out, as it says there for gas, and it'll run on propane. check light here indicates if the fridge failed to light. So if you ever see that check light on, it means the fridge did not light, and you'd want to turn everything off, repeat the process. Okay, we are off. Okay, smoke detector, air conditioner here. So air conditioner you do have to be plugged into power for, or have a generator. Right over here where it's blue, that is your air conditioner. And over here is fan only. And then you can somewhat control a little bit of the temperature of the air conditioner right here. Okay, down here we have a propane detector. If you had a propane leak that would start beeping, keep in mind other things can cause it to go off. Other chemicals, smells, aerosols. The most common cause of a propane detector chirping is low battery voltage. So if your detector is chirping periodically and your propane's shut off, you know that there's definitely no propane. It's likely due to your battery voltage being low. All right. In the bedroom, we have a fan. Okay, so with this fan, there's 3 speeds. Crank that up. Got a temperature control here. And back to 0, and I'll close it up. Okay, we'll just show you the bathroom. Oops. Okay, so in the bathroom, light switch, toilets. Toilet's just got a foot flush. You should use chemicals in the black water tank. There's lots of different types. That'll have the directions on the bottle depending on what you choose. You should also use RV toilet paper as well, because it does break down a lot easier. If you use household toilet paper, chances are things are going to start to plug up. And I think that's it. So have a watch of the video, and if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. I'm happy to chat with you. Thank you very much.